What's up, creepers? Hey, Geekers, Chris, the Atari Creep. How's everyone doing today? Wowie, do I have a good one for you. This video might be long, so I'll try to break it up into segments for you. But a challenge has been posed online, and I'm going to accept the challenge. I saw this, and so many things just came together, and I said, I was put on this planet. I'm being dramatic. To build this. No, it just seemed to work out perfectly. There's a channel called The Smuggler's Room. I've been following this cat for a while. I mean, he had less than 5,000 subs when I found his channel. It's probably through another channel. Really nice guy. Him and his wife work together quite a bit on projects, and that's what this channel's about. It's about projects, sci-fi, building things from other things that don't necessarily go together. You know? An incredible builder. And he's called The Smuggler's Room because he's turning his, I believe it's his basement, into a Star Wars themed room, meaning it looks like it's in the universe, not so much, you know, the toys and props and stuff. But he's a prop builder, and his tagline, I absolutely love it, is, see you next time we make something out of nothing. And I absolutely love that idea. I mean, you guys, I know you're not following along with this, but there's an action figure I'm putting together, a 12-inch action figure. And this is literally a whole bunch of just random things glued together and painted. And this is going to go around his neck, and it's going to be right here. It's going to be sick as fuck! But what's the challenge, and what are the rules? The challenge is to build a flux capacitor style prop. But the catch is you can put it in any universe in which you want. Meaning, if you thought that the Ecto-1 should have had a flux capacitor, or maybe the Nebuchadnezzar from the Matrix. The Millennium Falcon was another example he gave. Build it. What would it look like in that universe to you? You know, if you were to represent this to a filmmaker, he's coming to you for, what are you going to do for my movie? This isn't part of his. This is how I look at these projects. And you're like, okay. And then you make something, and then they say, you are awesome. Here's lots of money. That's how it goes every time, right? When I build something, people buy it. I'm looking at a shelf full of shit that doesn't sell. But regardless, the only rule is, and he started off by saying there are no rules. Except, the only exception is, it has to have some resemblance. Someone needs to look at it and go, oh, that looks like a flux capacitor, but completely different. You know what I mean? That kind of a thing. It has to, you have to be able to know it's supposed to be a flux capacitor, is the way I'm interpreting this. The question is, what universe does the Creep put this in? And when I first thought about it, I'm like, okay, so I'm really into Blade Runner. I'm really into Star Wars. You know, I'm into horror. I mean, imagine making a flux capacitor for Jason fucking Voorhees. You know, the Crystal Lake flux capacitor. I can't believe you made a time machine out of a machete. I had Atari 2600, just came to mind. I at first struggled with this because it's, what I was trying to get to is, when you think of this kind of thing, you think of movies or TVs or pop culture, visual entertainment. I want to make the console itself the flux capacitor. You know, it's got switches. It's already a mechanical, or a digital, I should say, thing that does stuff, you know? Why not turn that into it? I'm like, all right, well, let's just say it's you know, I think Atari, I think Blade Runner, right? 80s, Atari, movies, Blade Runner. I think of those three things together. So I'm going to say it's Blade Runner inspired. But let's just face it, I'm taking a flux capacitor and I'm putting it into the Atari 2600 universe. So I hope that's okay. Because think about it. What do we do on these channels here? At least the ones related to mine. We're constantly going back in time to relive all of this stuff, right? We got rooms full of this crap. So we can go back in time just for a little bit, you know? And forget about everything else. And that's what building is all about for me. Building is as equal to going to the greatest therapist on the planet. So in doing so, I got to cut up some stuff, you know? And I'm probably going to upset a few people, but so we're going to start with the actual Flux itself, the thing that makes the lights and does the blinky things, I think we're going to work on that first, because everything else is derived from that point. I've been trying to think of a way to modify this anyway to make it a cool custom console. I just know I have a basic idea, and we're going to go with it. We have until December 1st, so as we're building, the ideas can come around, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this. And here's the most important part of this whole thing. It's still going to be a functional 2600, and that's the goal. So enough talking. Let's get fluxing, you flux. All right, so I had to think of a way to get some kind of a lighting thing to make it look like it's doing something. And of course, in the original prop, there's that triangular pattern with the clear bars and the lights going do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do-do, and it gets faster and faster. So I've had this for a while. This went to a Jedi training game. It was a mobile game. This is the sensor. It had like this little, almost looked like Epcot, you know, a golf ball on the top of this thing. And it does light up. It's an ugly kind of pink, and it's also like this weird muted blue. So regardless, we are not going to use the LED that's in here. Now, luckily for me, this thing just pops right off. You just have to squeeze it just right, and it came right off. And there were only 2 screws in here to remove the board. Why are we removing the board? What are we going to replace it with? And I found this bad Larry. So at first I'm thinking it's just, you know, it's just going to strobe. But no. To my delight, the light spins and chases. And luckily for me, it just so happens to fit in here perfectly. They're like these little tabs where it'll just slot right in, see? And more importantly, the lights line up with these 4 things here. So what? Contact point? What? And that's what I mean by this. Just seemed to be one of those things where it just kept getting better and better and better. So what I want to do is I'm going to take this thing apart. I'm going to try to fashion it into here. Now, I'm not going to make a console where you just flip a switch and everything activates. I'm not that good. So, for display purposes only, I'll have to turn everything on and then get it set up before taking video. And I don't mind cheating that way, because that's just, you know, there's some skills I just don't have yet, all right? Get over it. Let's cut these things up. I'm going to have to cut all this out and then make this a smaller unit, keeping this piece, of course, and seeing how we can fit it in there. I don't think I need to, but I'm going to say it. See? So, okay, so here is the basic idea, and I don't know if I'm going to use this. I may not. Either way, I just wanted to show you what it looked like slightly diffused. So, this is... I can't really show it to you that way. I need to lower it about that much. So, the other happy accident that happened here, let me see if I can't keep it in place, is everything lines up here too. So, I could still use cover once I secure this down. So in making it squish enough to do its thing before I make anything permanent, what I need to do is just shorten the, I guess you'd call it the height, I suppose, of this thing. I'm just going to simply go around it with my janky nippers. I'm the type of guy that if it's still kind of working, I'll use the tool. I don't care. I just pray to God this doesn't shatter on me. I'm only removing this because it's going to be removed anyway. And rather than sit there and just fight with the sandpaper to go through the thickness of whatever this lip is, I'd rather just cut it right off, get rid of it. Alright, so we got it where we can close it. I'm going to very carefully pick this up. And now I gotta secure it, all right? I gotta secure this thing. You know what? I'm not even gonna touch it needlessly. I'm just gonna put a bit of hot glue in there on either side. I'm not necessarily trying to secure it in there. I just want it to stay in there enough so that if any changes could be made later on or need to be made, and God knows it's probably gonna happen, that it's not gonna be a pain in the rear to make it happen. That should be good. Now we need to address some coloring here. And I'm not talking about the orange. The orange is fine. You won't see the orange. I'm going to scuff up the parts here. I'm not going to touch the bottom. One, because it has the electronics in it. And two, it's black already. We don't need that to do anything. I don't know if I'm going to color this or not. I think I'm going to leave it like this. If anything, I'll tape this stuff off and paint this stuff black. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. It's all in the moment, you know what I mean? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this and this with some plastic primer from Montana. It's a clear plastic primer. And then I'm just going to hit it with this flat black primer. I love using primer for base coats, especially if you're just going to make it weathered. I'll try to give the illusion of metal. Alright, let me go out there and do that. You don't necessarily need to see me spray paint, do you? These I'm really excited about. I have a ton of these, and because prop guys tend to like to do their research, I'm not going to tell you where these came from, but I have a ton, and I mean a ton of these. And I don't know if you noticed, but there's 4 sides to these things, you know? I got 4 of these. And one thing that's going to help me keep this kind of flux capacitor like is I got this yellow cat, what is it called? Cat cables, Ethernet cable. So here's the console. I think this is where I'm going with it right now. I'm thinking about putting this here and these in the corner. I may, you know, this is going to evolve as it evolves. Where is my 4th one? There we go. There we go. And of course I got a couple of these going from here to in one of these. I might come up with something to come out and you know, or another idea I had was just to make it a little closer and then put a bunch of other crap here. We have all this and we have all this. So we have the sides, we have the face. We can do all kinds of things with it, but I just need to sit here and meld on it. Actually, that might be the jam right there. We'll see. I don't know. I really don't know where we're going to go with this, but this right here is the basic idea. And there we go. It's black on the inside, so you can't really see much of what's going on. I might put a little detail in there just in case. You never know. That's where we stand. So in order to make this easier as far as accessorizing the console, we got to take it apart, don't we? I believe this is the proper bit. So we got to take it apart. There's only 4 screws to this bad Larry. There are tricks here and there as far as what to do to get them, you know, out of the way. But you'll see. You'll see when we open it, because the main console itself is on an angle. The actual electronics. And last. This console I got for $10 along with a Vader, a bunch of controllers. There's actually a video. Where are my pliers? There we go. A couple of games, I think. I think there were a couple of games that came with it. But there was a whole bunch of accessories, and it was a bike shop in Lynn, Mass. I went and picked it up at. I mean, it was just in a big garbage bag. Had 1 power supply. I mean, $10 for the 2 consoles. And the, I'm just gonna do this. The Vader that I use on our channel here is the one that I got with this. This is at an angle on the inside. So how I like to do is pop. You grab this by the thumb, pop this, and then bring it towards you slowly. Try not to bring the board with you. Sometimes that's tough. And that's it. That's your Atari 2600. 4-switch Woodrow. Alright, so I'm just gonna, just for simplicity or safety, put that like that. And now we gotta play around with this bad Larry. You know what else is cool? This part pops out. Now I am going to attach this using Velcro, so obviously we can get up, do this, put it together, and then I can take beauty shots. I did have to glue this piece down. It kept slipping off, so I just put a little glue on the 4 points there. We're good to go. Now we're just going to give it a little bit of detail. I was debating on whether or not to leave this piece in here or just let the motherboard show, because that was a cool look too, but me and my friend both, this diffuses it better. Just, it looks a lot better. But because I like that just little mechanical look on the inside, we're going to hit this with a chrome pen, just in the center. We're going to let that dry, hit it one more time, and then I'm just going to glue this sucker back down. Now it's time to commit. I'm just going to give this just a quick little, you know why. You know why. Bum, 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 that should be more than enough. Alright, so this is kind of where we're going with this, alright? I'm definitely going to center this. You know, should I bring it forward? No. I'm going to keep it as centered as possible. I'm going to put these in the corners just like that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll figure out whatever. I think that just looks fine as it is. These are not going to be glued to the top. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take photocopies of both of these, okay? And then I'm going to affix them to the top of the case. There's going to be tape here as well. And I'm going to cut literally just where the chips and everything stop. So I have all this surface here to glue with. But yet we can still have some chips exposed, and you know, you won't see the ugliness of the cuts themselves. This is this used to be a Fairchild Channel F, but now it is multiple pieces of a Fairchild Channel F. And then, you know, I mean, we got all these ridges, right? We can run wires and all kinds of fun stuff, and that means I'm gonna have to probably grind out on the edges a little bit to tuck them in and under. This is actually gonna be pretty cool. I'm starting to really get excited. All right, so it's going to go something like this. We're mainly going to glue these ends to the inside. You know, they might be slightly recessed, but that's going to be a really rad look. So I took the photocopies with my printer, and then I marked the back of these, which one. This one's left, and it's facing, you know, this way. And I'm going to cut inside these lines, obviously, and then I'm going to try to slowly work my way and just make sure it just looks neat. I just want it to look neat. It can look homemade, it can look hacked up, it's supposed to be. But let me cut these. You're not going to have to watch me do that. You've already watched me cut things. And then we'll go from there. I'm about to do some horrible things to this Atari 2600 shell. So we got it all cut out, but one thing I wasn't accounting for was the screw post. So we had to notch a little bit out of each corner, but hopefully this tape will hold it so you can see where we're going with this, and how cool is that? But there you go. That's the basic idea so far. Hey look, more JB Weld and hot glue and tape. Right now we're at the hot glue stage over here. As soon as the hot glue's no longer hot, I'm going to hit it with more tape, and then we'll flip it over and have a look. Not the cleanest jobs in the world, but that's what we're left with. And while that's curing up and drying, I figure we'll dress these. They're too shiny and plasticky. Let's make them unshiny and unplasticky using the same method I did earlier in the video. I'm going to scuff it up, plastic primer, and I might mist a little bit of black over it, and then dry brush a few little metallic scrapes here and there. I don't want it to look too old and beat up, but then again, I don't want it to look brand new either, so. Yeah, it should be more than enough. In the interest of not thinking too much about it, I got a whole bunch of this other cat cable. Where is it? It's white. It's over here somewhere. There it is. I'm stripping, and I'm going to be putting them in random places just across here. I might even put some going in here. You know, a couple jumping across. I got this wire over here as well that might be doing that with. I'm just going to fashion a few things on the top that I know I can put in the recesses and won't interfere with anything else. Now, you know, keep in mind I gotta clean it up. I sometimes just go off as a side note, and I just started going off and doing things, and you're gonna find that happens a lot with me. You know, it's messy under here, but it's messy under there, so it can look like this up here. But after I clean this up, it'll look a lot better. So we'll just put that there. We'll just, you know, we'll mock this up. We'll keep doing this, right? Man, where's that last one, man? Yeah, here we go. As far as these are concerned, the effect that I put on them, very subtle. Very subtle. It just makes it like slightly grainy. So now when I dry brush some metallics on it, it'll have a little bit more of a, it'll be a little more believable. At least that's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm going for. All right, so we got other pieces here to play around with. I removed that because I wanted to flip this around. It was originally on the inside, but it just so happens to fit perfectly. Right here. And it's going to help hide a crime. Ew. So I'm going to attach it here, drill the 2 holes here, attach it with real hardware, and you know, we got a couple of holes here. I mean, I guess we could run some cat cable through that, or we could, I don't know, have things sticking out of it. Hold on. This thing can go in there. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's going to look great. And then what I'll do is I'll just solder this down like it's a ground. Oh, hell yeah. Do you guys have any idea how much this hurts a guy called the Atari Creep to cut this thing all up? Well, the answer is 0. Nothing sacred to me. Not for art, anyway. You know, and one of the best parts of having pieces like this on there is it's real metal, you know? And if you can match the non-metal parts, you know, with a slight bit of damage or what have you, then you're in like Flynn. It helps sell the illusion. As you can see here, there's going to be no nut. I didn't account for the shelf. So what I did is I just drilled all the way into that next rib. Now I'm going to put some hot glue in there just to hold it. Alright, we're just making a few things a little prettier here. A little more presentable, if you will. The silver effect is a little muted because it's on gray. But I think it'll be just fine. It'll be just fine, especially if we just do this one section here. Just give the top here a little bit of a kiss, you know? Yeah, that's the ticket. That's the ticket. Don't forget your stipple technique. Alright, let me do all 4 of them like this, and then we'll move on to the, I guess I'll call it the brass. I don't know. Yeah, see, it's subtle, but it's there. And I think spraying it early, just mixing it with that black, is what really helps. Now, did I rinse off my brush in between colors? Nope. The more the merrier when it comes to metallics, kid. Well, it's starting to come alive now, isn't it? And the one thing with brass is it's very sensitive to the air, so the coloring on brass is very sporadic. And here we're just going to kind of give it hell, you know. It's very sporadic, you know. You kind of get the idea of like a gold color, but a lot of times you see this like this blackness. Pretty cool. So don't forget to get in the corner here. All right, do the rest of them like that, and we should be good to toss this onto the console. And by toss, I mean just glue it down. There, I just tossed it. Also, another thing I never really mentioned was I brushed on the silver haphazardly, and some got onto this piece here, which is fine, because once it's dry and I dry brush a little of this color over it, in fact, I may hit it with a little bit of silver too. It kind of gives that illusion, you know? I don't know how else to say it. Sometimes just brushing a different metallic color with a metallic color just kind of helps to heighten the illusion, and it looks super duper. All right, I'm going to take these outside, and you know that primer I have that's clear? I'm going to mist it over this to seal it, seal in the freshness. So now we're going to make this thing look like something. Let's chip some paint. Again, I'm using my Molotov Chrome mirror effect. There it is. And I'm just kind of touching little areas here and there. You know, I dropped it a few times or something, you know? I can't even see what I'm doing. I apologize. I apologize. Again, I get wrapped up into these things. But yeah, there you go. Yeah, did you know I am building a droid of an old pool filter? No? Well, go check it out. Go check it out. Yeah, look at that. Look at that scratch, huh? Look at that scratch. Man, I hated when I did that. That's back when I was running to the restroom, and this three-legged dog with two mouths got in my way. I tripped, and his hair was coarse like a Brillo pad, and this bounced off of him. And that's where these scratches came from. That's the story of my universe. My Atari Flux Capacitor. I'm gonna hit this hard. Oh yeah, take that. So a couple of things that take it, you know, a little bit over the edge. It looks rough now. In person, I promise you, it's not so bold, and it's, you know, whatever. But this is 80 grit. I barely touch it, but I give it a couple scratches here and there on the higher surfaces, and it just kind of helps sell the illusion that this was some kind of, you know, metal, and that this didn't just get a chip. I mean, there's actual damage here, and sometimes you can use this to, like this spot right here. I think it's a little too much, and same with this. It just dulls it down a little bit. But then after that, I don't hear a lot of people talking about this, and I've shown it off a number of times. Brick red, and I don't know if other brands are similar in color. Craft Smart, I guess this is a Michaels brand, I guess. I've been using it for years. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to stipple it, just like you would like a dry brush, onto the part in certain spots, and slowly build up the color. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do it right now while you listen to me yab about it, because I think that's kind of why you're watching a video, to learn. Wow, this paint is gloppy. It's been a while since I've been artful, if you will. And let's see if I can get around the thing. This is going to help sell the illusion of oxidation. I don't know if you can see it happening already a little bit. Get a little more on my brush. I can't see through the camera here. But it really does help sell the illusion. Looks more red on the camera, I know, but barely have any paint on the brush. As a matter of fact, you have to load it, a lot, because there's so little paint on it that it just disappears almost instantly. So now that these are dry and the blinky parts drying, we have to attach these to the lid here. So I'm going to use some E6000 here in the center and then run, I guess you would call it, a bead of super glue around the edge here. Maybe even a little on these little spines here, just to give it some grab while the E6000 takes overnight to cure. All right, so jumping ahead, here's how we look so far. We got to get some stuff up here, but I'm going to finish 2 more things down here, and then we'll figure the rest out. But check this out. It's like an electrode. I got a pack of 3 of these. I wish they came in packs of 4. I would have done something cooler with it. I have a Frankenstein Elvis skull mask thing that I put together. And I put a couple of these on there for the electrodes with wires hanging out of it. And I just saw this one sitting on the shelf. I'm like, you know what? Popped it right in there. Have a nice day. So that's going to be part of the equation now, which I think makes it even more legit. So I have these caps here, these capacitors. So I figured I got a bunch of this wires, you know, one end's male, one end's female. I don't know if you can see that or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these capacitors and boom, one will go in here. Maybe I'll put this little guy right here and he'll go into that one. I don't know. We'll see. Did I show that yet? I probably did. Oh well, what are you going to do? So the top of this is pretty bare. I just put this on there, and I got this. I don't know what I'm going to stick to it, but we don't really have anything here, and I don't want to connect this to here, because then that would make both pieces of the shell connected. So I'm going to go into my little bin here and see if I have any mechanical looking or even digital looking parts, even anything with some kind of a circuit board. And I'm going to just try to lay them all over here. So listen to how empty this can is, okay? I got this from my Mandalorian kit because I couldn't find the stuff I normally did, and I've been using it for everything else. I've had this for like 2 years. Listen how empty that is. And it just keeps giving. Keeps giving. It's never going to give up the ghost, and you know what? I'm grateful for that. Thank you, Hammered Rust-Oleum. I really appreciate your existence. I'm going through my Greebly box, and I'm like, okay, well, this looks like a nice little, like, you know, little metal cap that you would see on something mechanical or electronic. So I took it outside and I gave it the same little treatment, you know, with the spritz of that metal stuff and whatever. And I found one that was already silver. So I have a whole bunch of these, and we're not really going to get into where they came from. It's an adult indulgent. Somewhat recently legal in this state. Little sticks would be put in here, but long story short, I got a whole bunch of these. In fact, I used some of these on my Mandalorian helmet on the sides. It just so happens the material is super easy and forgiving to work with. It didn't take me about 3 or 4 minutes just to make it look like this. So we're going to put them on the top here as like kind of like a what would you call that? Like it's like a heat sink, right? It's you know, like a radiator kind of thing. Basically, this is, I don't want this to overheat and blow up in the car or whatever it is I put it in. So that's what that's for. So we're going to secure this down here, but I don't want to make it permanent because I need to be able to get to the blinky switch. So we're going to use some Velcro here. Hopefully it'll hold enough just to at least keep it from moving around. And that's all I really want, honestly. Yeah, so one of the biggest things I've been struggling with is how to attach the wires from the corners, you know, the other pieces just like this, into the actual fluxing thing, the thing with the doohickey light. And I had a couple of other options that just didn't work out. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this down, right? Down to basically this. And I'm going to leave this piece here as kind of like maybe an insulator. I don't know, as I drop it. And then I'm going to paint the shaft itself pretty much the same way as the other one. And I think that'll tie it all together just nicely. God, I'm getting so excited. The next question is, that doesn't belong there. Will I be able to get the console back inside the console? Alright, we're coming down to the wire here. So rather than just repair this, if you see there, it's just more of a, just cups in there, right? Just put that like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tack this in gently with a little bit of super glue, because I know that piece is around here somewhere. I just don't know exactly where it is. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to tack this on here and hopefully be able to just break it free when needed. And I'm just going to have to remember not to hit this switch too hard. That's all. All right, now I'm going to attempt to put the console back together. I need the cable though. Let me fetch that. Okie dokie, artichoke. The shorter end of the two, hopefully I'm in camera here. There you go. Goes inside the machine. There we go. Alright. I'll put it over here. That little crook. Put the console back in the machine. I don't know how well this is going to hold, but it'll work for now. It's fine. There's only one way it can go in, so this. I like to plug it in first, so I can go from there as far as how much cord to use. Back there. This goes up and over. Hopefully you can see that. It plugs in right there. Up, goes around into here, and then there's like a little post here that also helps it from leaving the console, if you will, should this unplug. Now, one of the things I like to do is I clean up my connections while they're out. A little bit of light sandpaper on the inside there just to get rid of some of the carbon that builds up because of the electrical contact that goes through there. Just a natural occurrence of current. So I hate when I can't just slip this in. I'm going to try like hell to put all the switches up. Otherwise, what I'm going to have to do is put... I think I got it. Sometimes what you got to do is you got to lift the board to the lid itself. Alright, what's in the way? There's nothing. I'm not going to lie. I thought there for a second that it wasn't going to fit. Oh no. I thought these were too low. It wasn't going in. The reset thing didn't work out. That's okay. I'll find the other piece and it'll just be as simple as just popping in. It's like a cap and, you know, it's a hat. Alright, let me screw this together. Small confession. I only have 3 screws. At some point, when I was putting I'll show you. There we go. Nice. Nice. When I was screwing the bottom one here, I dropped the screw. And I thought I found it on the table. Turns out it was the one for this. So, that's all. Ooh. Let's finish this thing. Let's finish it.
Wait a minute, Chris. Are you telling me that you made a time machine out of an Atari 2600? Whoa, that's heavy.
Bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. Have you played Atari today? That's it. That's what you're getting from me. Oh my God, this was so fun. You know what? Honestly, I needed this. I really needed this. I had until December 1st. It is what? November 2nd. November 2nd. I spent the past couple days just jamming this out, and I really did need it. I really did need this. This has awoken something in me that hasn't been awoken in a long time. Brian, thank you, bro, for posing this challenge. You know, whether anyone likes this or not, I really don't care. I still don't know if I like it or not. It's the process that I enjoy. The final product, it is what it is, but all right, look at that. So when I'm building, I plan basic ideas, and then I just go. And whatever happens, happens. You know, a lot of times I won't say no to myself. And that's how I mess up a lot of things, but that's also how I've learned. You know, get those connected onto the board there. Pretty cool. What a fun project. So, going back over all these pieces, this was, I believe, the bottom of a Dollar Tree flashlight. I have no idea what this was, but I threw some paint on it and said, you know what? That looks official. You saw me cutting these guys up. I thought that was such a great idea. If you can figure out what these are from, super duper. A lot of these boards and caps and stuff were from old video game consoles and such. That's from a pool accessory, if you have a pool liner. This is just Ethernet cable. This is from a Jedi training game. As a matter of fact, the whole reason I even got the darn set was just to have this on my shelf with the rest of my lightsabers. It still lights up, I just don't have any batteries in it. And last little touches, I got this here on the side, and I was originally going to attach it somewhere over here, but it started to get a little too crowded and things started disappearing. So, I'm just going to say these are what plugs into whatever leads to the time circuits. And speaking of the time circuits, how am I going to communicate with the time circuits? How am I supposed to know where to go, or at least my time machine? Well, I got this plugged into the controller port number 1. This is my video touchpad. You know, day, month, year, the numbers, beep, boop, boop, beep, boop, boop, boop. Go back to Daddy's Junkie Music and tell yourself not to get rid of that 1984 Gibson Explorer. You'll never find one again in your price range. Yes, so I hope you dig. I really do. But here's the question that's on everybody's head. Does it still function as an Atari 2600? My fellow geeks, we are about to find out. In real time, so you don't think there's any goofiness going on when you unplug the touchpad. You plug in a real controller. This is one I refurbished recently. Oh my goodness, it feels so good. Now I need to connect it to the TV. Here it is. Yes, I am not going to edit this because if it's a failure, I want it to be shown in real time as well as a success. And plugging it into the TV. We're going to turn the TV on. Oh, I don't think the TV's plugged in. Oh my God. Plug the TV in. Oh, I gotta plug the Atari in too, don't I? Alright, now we can do it. Now we can do it. Sorry that you had to sit through all that. Sorry that you had to sit through all that. The question is, though, what game are we gonna play? Oh, I just so happen to have this cartridge ready to go. Hell yeah. I forgot that this one has a crappy RF output. Alright, let's get this to start. There we go. Let's mow down some walkers. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you're new around here, no, I don't take any of this seriously. But we are building a full-size droid out of a Hayward pool filter housing, if you really would care to see that. I'm also building a custom controller for the Atari 2600 right now. It's more of a goof than anything. We play games. I got a little bit of a loose mouth though, so I wouldn't suggest watching with your kids around unless I specifically say in the video it's safe for your kids to watch with you. But Brian, thank you so much for the challenge, my man. I genuinely had more fun with this than I have on a build in a long time. I kind of feel bad that I finished it already. But you know what? It is what it is. Now I have to wait and see what everyone else came up with. So everybody, wherever in the world you are, I hope you are doing well. It is now the Thanksgiving season, which means it's Christmas season and holidays and all that crap, and I just got dead. So I hope that's going to be kicking off without a hitch for you guys. Hope everyone's doing well. And until next time, take care. Creep it real. Gosh darn it. And bye-bye. Oh, P.S. I did this too. That's it. Bye-bye.